Over the last couple of weeks here, I've had a number of you reaching out asking what is your honest opinion on a fourth stimulus check? What are your thoughts on ongoing monthly payments specifically focused on the low income? So in this video, I want to give you my honest opinion on a one-time lump sum payment as a fourth stimulus check or even ongoing monthly payments for the low income. This is all based on what I am currently seeing out there with all the research that I'm doing, all the updates, all the information that I'm finding, so I could be completely right, I could be completely wrong, or I could be anywhere right in the middle. Alright, let me give you some of the recent announcements that we do know have come out of lawmakers, the administration, the president. We do know that the administration has recently reached out to Congress, asking them for tens of billions of dollars for more money because we could be seeing a massive surge in COVID cases later this year. 100 million new CEOs COVID cases are what they are predicting a little bit later this year. That's basically a third of the population right here in the United States. We do know that lawmakers have also reached out calling all another reconciliation bill sometimes to be passed within the next few months here. We also do know that lawmakers have been in previous support of ongoing stimulus checks. In fact, over the last couple of months here, we've seen multiple different proposals hitting the table out of a variety of different lawmakers, senators, or representatives. We've seen all kinds of talk about a variety of different stimulus type checks, ongoing monthly payments, one-time lump sum payments. A lot of it has to do with inflation and, of course, rapidly rising gas prices, which once again we are back at new all-time highs in gas prices. We continue to see that there are many lawmakers that are in favor of it, continuously sending out ongoing payments for the low income and essentially anybody that are determined as low income based on their definitions of basically $75,000 of income or less each and $150,000 as a married couple. Now we do also know a few other things going on. Number one could be inflation. It is a huge problem right now. In fact, the president has been out a few times over the last couple of months talking about the plan to actually get ahead of this inflation and actually make sure that they are lowering inflation and alleviating some of the inflationary effects on families. Also, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. Again, the whole point behind this is to lower the appetite for borrowing money and spending money. They are also starting to do quantitative tightening, in other words, taking money out of the system, rather than flooding the system with more fresh money. At the same time, we also do know that the financial market, the housing market, and all kinds of different things are getting a little bit of pressure right now, mostly because things are starting to roll over. In the event of a recession, a very deep recession comes into this economy, this country. When the United States is in a recession, the Federal Reserve comes out and says, quantitative easing. That's a really fancy way of saying, we are gonna print a whole bunch of money every single month, and then they start flooding into the system by buying bonds. Another big thing that I want to lay out for you is that we do recognize the midterm elections are also coming up. The president's approval rating is not exactly the best right now. Democrats still maintain full control of everything: the House of Representatives, the Senate, the presidency, and everything. However, a real concern for going forward for Democrats is possibly looking at losing control of the House and or the Senate. If that's the case, the opportunity to pass another reconciliation bill is off the table. They can get a reconciliation bill done probably easily, provided they can get Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema on board with that. They need those 2 votes, along with the other 48 Democratic senators, to basically get a bill done it couldn't be that hard to do. Because Democrats have made it very clear that they need to deliver for the people before the midterm elections. Well, at this point, a lot of people may be a little bit skeptical as far as what the Congress really doing. Inflation is raging. The market is rolling over. There are a lot of different things that are going on with fixed income, low-income individuals out there pretty much are not being able to keep up with all of these rapidly rising prices. We've seen it with multiple different reports out there. So with all that being said, just different things that are leaning toward that and making additional points as far as money that is needed right now, here's what I could foresee going and happening. If there happens to be on that check, it could be a highly focused check for the low income and or the fixed income, roughly 20 million, maybe 50 million people. In fact, not too long ago, we did hear out from the administration that they've identified about 48 million households in this country as low income. It could be monthly ongoing payments, it could be $100, it could be $200, it could be $300 for maybe a short period of time, a few months, 6 months, a year. Maybe it's paid off of gas prices, just like we've seen previously with the tax rebate act of 2022. Maybe a year ago they were a little bit more generous these days. They are not being as generous with the dollars amounts. If you've noticed some of the ideas and some of the proposals and the packages that they've seen introduced lately, the dollar amounts seem to continue to get smaller and smaller each and every week that goes by, it seems like. However, when it comes down to a one-time lump sum check, if they do happen to pass a one-time check, I think $2,000 as a one-time lump sum check would be a little bit of a stretch right now. So it couldn't cost that much money. Even a $2,100 check for 50 million people would only be $100 billion. It couldn't be that much at the end of the day, right? Even if they chopped it down to say $1,400 for 50 million people, they spent $70 billion all the time on little projects around the country or even around the world that sent out money to other countries. $70 billion in the grand scheme of things when it comes down to Congress is not that much money. And as far as timing goes on, this kind of any time between now and pretty much the midterm elections, however, the sooner the better. But the timing has to be perfect because they know that they want to get that money out in the event that they were to do something, they would want to get that money out perfectly timed. So another thing we got to take into consideration is it takes time to get legislation through Congress. Anyway, all of these factors combined, that's where I'm currently sitting right now.